Hey everybody, welcome to the real United States, and welcome back once again to the city of Y Mill, which is, we've visited before here in eastern Maryland. Now, Y Mill, you may recall, is home to the old Y Mill, if we swing around that a little bit. And this is the oldest operating grist mill in America. So that's where you may remember it from if you're a longtime viewer of the channel. But what I'm here today to talk to you about is actually the way we've named things here in the United States and how that has changed a little bit over time because of the way, you know, when the preponderance of settlers came to the Americas, they came from east to west. So they landed on the eastern shore of the continent of North America. All right. So you see here, we are on the edge of, well, we're by the sign for the edge of Talbot County. Now, the edge of Talbot County actually, by the way, is on the far side of the old Y Mill, because the old Y Mill was here since 1682. And Talbot County didn't actually become a place until about 1706. But I digress. The point is in the early part of the development of the country, we're very close to the Atlantic Ocean, and we're in the very eastern part of the United States. And in that period when they were naming things, they were generally named for historic figures from the old country, right? You know, the people that are here are still loyal subjects of the crown, whether that was the English crown or the Spanish crown or even the Dutch crown. They were loyal subjects of their respective countries, all right? So in, 1682 and 1704, yeah, 5, 6, 1706, I believe it was. They were still loyal subjects of the crown. So they were naming things for famous people or places associated with their homeland, not with their new home. So Talbot County was actually named for Lady Grace Talbot. Now, Lady Grace, as far as I know, has no particular other spectacular claim to fame. She was the wife of Robert Talbot, who likewise has no particular claim to fame. However, Lady Grace was the sister of Lord Baltimore. Now, Lord Baltimore, obviously the namesake of the city of Baltimore, and a very prominent figure in that era. So again, we were naming things here in the colonies, if you will, for people of import, largely political import at that time. I'm sure some military commanders were fortunate enough to have things named after them, but mostly people of nobility, of money, and political power. A lot of things were named for that. Now, granted, there was New York, which was previously New Amsterdam, so things were named for existing places, things like that, but a lot of things were named for people of high society. Now, if I'm standing on the county line, or nearly the county line, again, because it's not, the sign was put here as a matter of convenience for the passers-by on the road to be able to see it without obstruction. It's actually closer to where those trees are is where the actual county line is. But if that's going to be Talbot County, then where am I standing? Well, let's go around the other side and take a look. So as you come around to the other side of the sign, you look into the adjoining county, which technically we are really standing in. This is Queen Anne County. Now, again, as I had mentioned, the actual dividing line is on the corner of the old Y Mill. So Y Mill actually sits in Queen Anne County. Now, Queen Anne County, named, of course, for the regent in England at the time. Now, if you can see here on the sign, the county was formed in 1706. All right, well, Queen Anne, the reigning potentate of England, became the queen in 1702. And at the time that this county was incorporated then, it was named in her honor. And it was in the following year, in 1707, by the way, that England and Scotland signed a compact, if you will, and became Great Britain. And so Queen Anne then went from being the Queen of England, Ireland, and Scotland to the Queen of Great Britain. And she remained that until her death in 1714. So she really only served for a decade, well, a little over a decade, 12 years. And yet, you know, she does have the distinction. Not a great deal known about Queen Anne, of course, because she didn't serve for very long. But, you know, she does have the distinction of having this county in eastern Maryland named for her. And that is how we name things largely in that period of time. Now, as the westward movement took place, obviously, we started naming things for American heroes. After the Revolution and after we became an independent nation, we started naming things for American politicians, American military commanders. Granted, some things were named for indigenous peoples or indigenous words, but a lot of things were named for American heroes, if you will. I mean, whether you think of them as heroes or not is up to you. But for example, Harrison County in southern Mississippi, it fronts the Gulf of Mexico and the home of Gulfport and Biloxi, Mississippi. I think it's Gulfport. I know Biloxi's there. Anyway, it's also home to another YouTube channel you might want to check out, Mississippi Wildlife. I'll leave a link to that down in the doobly-doo below. Good friend of ours, Jeff Howard, who runs that site, so yes, send him some love. That is named for William Henry Harrison. Now, that's interesting because Harrison was only president for exactly 1 month in 1841 and died from, well, what turned out to be septic shock from drinking bad water. You know, likewise, Van Buren County in the state of Michigan was named for Martin Van Buren, our 8th president of the United States. And, you know, places like, again, we'll jump back to Mississippi, Pike County, named for General Zebulon Pike. Or Wayne County, Michigan, named for Mad Arnold Wayne. I think it was Arnold, another era general. Or if you go out to western Kentucky to Muhlenberg County, named for General Muhlenberg. A lot of these counties were named for generals who were heroes of the Revolution. Some later counties named, of course, for generals that were heroes of the War of 1812 or even the Civil War. But largely these folks were heroes from the Revolutionary War. So as the westward expanse happened, how we felt about naming things changed. But we didn't go back, you know, and say, oh, well, we're no longer, you know, associated with England, so we're going to rename Queen Anne County. No. For whatever reason, I think people respected that that's what the name is, and that's what the name shall remain. So, anyway, folks, I think that's kind of interesting, and I don't think many of us think about how we chose what we named things changed as our history developed in the early developmental period. I mean, obviously we're not naming counties anymore because they've all been named, but I think it's interesting how that mental set amongst the peoples changed about what are we going to call this? Who are we going to honor? And I think it's something that a lot of us don't stop and consider. Anyway, so I hope you have enjoyed this short episode here on this beautiful sunny day here in Wymill, Maryland, and I hope if you've got questions or comments, you'll put them down in the comment section down below. I love hearing from all of you. If you want to stop in and say hi, please do so. I love hearing from you. If you're new here, hey, welcome. Thanks for joining us, and be sure and click subscribe and join us for future adventures because, folks, We got lots more to show you. And as always, well, thank you for watching.